I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is.
Welcome back to Forbidden Knowledge News. I'm your host, Chris Matthew. Today my guest is Dr. Christopher Macklin. Be sure and check out my films. Occult Louisiana is on Tubi. Doors of Perception is on Amazon Prime. We are booking guests for June. If you have suggestions or you'd like to be a guest, email me forbiddenknowledgenews@gmail.com. Today I want to welcome Dr. Christopher Macklin. His work focuses on UFOs, energy healing, and the paranormal. From a very young age, he was able to perceive energy fields, spirit activity, and multi-dimensional phenomena. Dr. Christopher, welcome. How you doing?
Oh, wonderful, bless your heart. Thanks for having me on. It's wonderful to be here, bless your heart.
It's great to have you. And as I mentioned in your introduction, you claim to have been able to perceive certain paranormal phenomena from a very young age. This led to understandings and curiosities that most others don't usually have. And through a combination of personal experiences and years of research, you now share your understanding of the nature of things like extraterrestrials and the paranormal. You also offer certain healing modalities, which we're going to get into as well. But before we get too deep into your story, this is your first time on. Let the audience know a little bit more about how they can find out more about you.
Yeah, absolutely. If you, I do healings every day. We work on something like 2,000 people. We have general groups, specialized groups where we have 15 people on those. And then we have one-to-ones. And we also have a lot of meditations that are going to help people. It's on the website and also books about manufactured diseases and different things. So, yeah, if you go to www.globalenlightenmentproject.com, and it's all there. Bless your heart.
Excellent. Let's start from the beginning. Tell us from your earliest memories how everything got started for you.
Do you really want to know this? Yeah, well, it was interesting. When I was born, 2 days after, I was always targeted, and I had 8 strokes. And then from that, I burnt my back really badly when I was 4. So I was in hospital for 2 years of the 4 years of my life. And when I came out, it was really interesting. I was in my bedroom one night, and I saw this reptilian thing. I didn't know what it was. It looked like a dinosaur. What's that? Dad, there's a dinosaur thing in my room. And it comes running in. Where? It's there, and I could feel it. When you feel really negative things, you could really feel it. And I thought, wow, you can't see it. So, okay, get back to sleep, It's just your imagination. And it was still there. So I thought, I don't like this thing. So I don't know where it came from. I said, get out of my room. It went, So I learned to manage them early on. I saw sight and a craft because I can see through the veil. It's really interesting, but it could be a curse or a blessing. Now, I treat it as a blessing, but someone said, God, that could be a curse. But I've learned to shut it off, so you can see through the veil and then you can close it off. I saw craft in the sky. I saw many different things, and I went through my life, severe dyslexia. Anyway, I graduated from high school, and then I did an apprenticeship in aircraft systems, and they sponsored me to do a degree. So I got a degree, I got a master's, and then after that I got PhDs of different things. And I went completely bankrupt. I was working on avionics, like, autopilots, cockpit control systems, and I never enjoyed it. And I actually looked around thinking, there's got to be something better than this, surely. And there was. Anyways, but I earned a load of money in those days because I was doing software and things like this. And then 2007 comes around, I'd built up a portfolio of houses, and then I decided I'm going to build 176 apartments. Oh dear. Oh dear. So I bought it before, and then 2007 came around, and basically the bank phoned me up and said, those apartments that were worth £220,000 are now worth 90. You got 14 days to pay our money back. And I was, So yeah, so we went completely bankrupt, and then life changed. And I remember in Manchester, I was sitting in an apartment, I had 2 bags of clothes, the marriage collapse, everything. I had 2 bags of like Walmart bags, for the few pantaloons and different things in, and shirt. And I was going, wow, I've worked all this time, 21 years. Is this it? And I asked my off-planet beings, is this it? And they said, it's the right time. What do you mean it's the right time? It's the right time, you'll see. And I went on a journey, amazing journey. I went to India, went all over the world, really, doing healings. I realized I had a gift of healing, but it gave me the time to detach from all the matrix and really focus on the healing. I was meditating about 6 hours a day because it's my belief I don't use other people's modalities. What the Melchizedek beings, I was born as one. They basically said you need to learn how we work, not someone else's modalities, how they work with their off-planet beings. So I meditated. They showed me cause and effect. I did some extraordinary things. But one thing I would tell the audience, which is really important, I think, is that if you're a starseed and you've got a starseed family, if you start meditating, they're not going to just connect with you. They're going to test you. And so you meditate, nothing happens. Next day, meditate, nothing happens. It can go on for weeks. Mine went on, I think, about 4 to 6 weeks. And then suddenly, when they say, oh, yeah, I think you're serious, they'll connect and you get downloads, things happen and everything changed. And so anyway, I remember having a reading in 2000, and this lady was about 84, and she said, let's start the reading. She's looking up, oh, thank you. Wrote a few things down, thank you. She said, well, and this was 2000, and I came in 2010. She goes, well, you're going to get remarried. Okay. You're going to move to America. Okay. You're going to work for God, doing healings, and live off donations. Okay. And here we are. So what she said was absolutely spot on. And then everything happened. Opened, registered 501c3. And, I remember we opened the office, nothing happened, So build it, they'll come. Well, they didn't, And so I asked them to accuse that being and said, what's happened? They said, it's within, get out there. Oh, okay. And as soon as I went out there, it took off. And here we are today, So yeah, I love what I do. Yeah. So, I'd always tell people, if you've got an absolute passion, first of all, I'd get in touch with our off-planet beings, whoever they are, start meditating with them, learn how the gift works, because everyone's gift is different, and have the faith to step out because, I'm not a multimillionaire, but I always have enough, and that's all you need, enough,
Can you tell us a little bit about the progression of the relationship with what you're calling the off-planet beings, how you came to understand their nature, if you had experiences with both positive and negative beings, and how do you discern the difference?
Now, let me see. Well, my biggest encounter was when I looked at my past lives, because I remember I went to Belize, went to a Mayan temple outside San Ignacio in Belize called Cha'antavich, and very powerful temple. So anyway, I went there, sat on the top, and it really blew me wide open. So when I went back to the hotel, I said, can you show me my past lives, all my past lives? They said, don't be so ridiculous. There's too many, So how about for the last 4,000 years? Because starseed people have come back and come back again because the world's changing so fast now. So they showed me, and it was almost like a 3D television. I was watching, wow, this is amazing. Oh, that's amazing. I guess I'm doing now the same thing I was doing in the past lives. And, that's your gift. But that was then when I learned I realized I was a Melchizedek being. There's 5 of us here. And, there's like Arcturians, you got Palladians, Lemurians, Atlanteans, Andromedans, Lyrans, and all these sort of people. And they've volunteered to come back. And people often say, well, why would starseeds want to come here? Because the place is nuts. And the answer is because we agreed to come here, because the biggest thing is free will. And so nobody off planet can interfere with the free will down here unless you are born on the planet. And so that's why they wanted starseed souls to come in a human body and be able to get help from the ethers down here. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so what good beings we have, all those guys. The negative ones, which I deal with every day, I see them attached to people, is things like the reptilians, like, draconians, you got Anunnaki, you got snake beings, you got other like creatures that can first and second dimensional entities like scarab beetle type things, octopus type things, and then you got Luciferians, and that was when I kind of got into a bit of trouble when I was talking about the Vatican and the Luciferian and everything else. And in 2024, they hit me with a low frequency energy weapon it melted the cusp of my heart valve together. And they've done it with other people.
Whoa.
And I passed away. I got really sick real quick. And I told my beings, do you have time to heal it? They said, no, you've got like 6 weeks to live. Okay. And because my heart's it's very big, it's huge, and so is the valve. So they said, we can't do TAVR. We're going to have to open you up and replace the heart valve. And so we did that. And so that's the 290th time they've attacked me. So it's insane. And here we are. So,
how did you perceive these beings? Was it in your mind's eye? Did they appear in a somewhat physical manner to you? Were you taken off planet? How did these encounters unfold?
I have been taken off planet. You can always tell if you're physically taken off planet, they do wipe, your mind so you can't remember it because they don't want you talking to other people. But you do feel as though you've been beaten with a baseball bat because also their craft are very fast, and so everything aches in the whole body. I've been taken off a couple of times. I have also my soul has been taken. So what happens then is when they take your soul, basically you're out of it. You're in a coma, and they always give me notice, except for once when I collapsed on the floor, and my wife thought, "Oh my God, he's on the stroke." Hang on a minute. Oh no, he's gone traveling. Because your soul's not in your body. And then when you come back, you wake up. And so, but they normally give you notice, but they didn't that day because there was an emergency meeting going on. So, yeah, it's amazing.
Now, you said they wipe your mind. Can you elaborate on this? Why do you think they feel the need to wipe the memory of the experiences you had with them? And does this happen every time?
Yeah, most times. I think it's because they don't want you to talk about it when you get back. Because, if you're interrogated by somebody and they wipe your mind, so I don't know,
How are you able to recall the information if they are wiping your mind after the experience?
What you have to do is go within the subconscious rather than the conscious. It's the conscious mind they wipe. You can't wipe the subconscious. So if you meditate on it and say, okay, at that time, you can retrieve some of the information from the subconscious.
So as it relates to the negative beings and what we're experiencing on this earth, I know you've done a lot of research into the negative systems that we are subjected to. What are the negative extraterrestrials that we're dealing with here?
The main ones, you've got the grey reticular because they destroyed their planet. And they're the ones who actually did a deal, started off with Hitler. We're going to trade you, technology for abductions. And so a lot of people got abducted and they were stealing eggs and sperm. And that's when I went to one of the meetings where they were talking about taking them off the planet. Now, what's the difference? If something violates the human race, they have permission to take them off the planet. So there was a discussion about what's the difference in violation and education. Now, you come down here and these reptilian beings are all around. They attach to people. That's why there's a lot of mass murderers are completely possessed by these things. But is that a violation of education? It's an education because you know about it before you get here, and you have to learn to manage them. The power of maps of intent. I don't like the word prayer, but I like the word map of intent. If you produce maps of intent, like prayers to remove these things, that intention will remove them. And so we all have to learn how to protect ourselves against them. And we have a prayer called the 27 Esoteric Merkabah Field Prayer. You just basically put it around you. When you've said that, you've got a field around you which won't allow them, a high vibrational field that they can't penetrate. So we've developed many different kind of prayers, or like I say, I like the word map of intent, to protect yourself against remote viewers, against these beings, so that when you're healing, they don't reattach to you. Because when your vibration's precarious, if it's just above theirs, they can attach to you. If your vibration's right up here, your field around you is so big that they don't stand a chance. They can't get within 50 feet of you. So that's the whole thing really is getting rid of the trauma. And most people who've come to this planet are traumatized because the place is crazy.
Depending who I've spoken with, people will tell you that these beings may be from off planet. Some will say they're interdimensional. Some would say they are from the imaginal or astral realms. Based on your understanding, are these beings coming from different planets? Are they coming from different dimensions?
I think it depends. Some of them, um, like the Anunnaki in the fourth dimension. So here they're an energy field, but they can shapeshift into forms here. They can make themselves look human. Same with draconians. Luciferians, they can also shift. I mean, they're from the fourth dimension. Mostly negative beings are from the fourth dimension, so it's astral. It's a different dimension. Same time, different frequency.
What you're calling
But they can actually.
Luciferians, are these humans or something else?
No, they're not humans. They're reptilian also, and they're very aggressive. Do you know when you see people, the perception of like priests trying to exercise somebody, and they're contorting their body, and you've got a cackly, nasty, raspy voice coming out? That's a Luciferian. They're very aggressive. When you remove them, I've removed them many times. In fact, I was at an expo in Los Angeles, and this lady had 57 of them in. And every time I took one out, she'd all this thing was going on. Right, back to God with unconditional love. Next one, back to God. And obviously they manipulate you because they say, you didn't get me, and this is the new one, so you remove that. Yes, I did, but we're going to remove you as well. I didn't get me again. Yes, I did, but you're going to, after the 57th, she just relaxed. Oh my goodness, it was insane. And people were freaked out. Like, what's he doing to her? I'm getting rid of the entities. So yeah, it was amazing.
So these would essentially be the same thing as demons, right?
Yeah, demonic. Yeah, demonic negative entities. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people have the word for Satan, but what is Satan? I mean, to me, it's all these beings because they're going against humanity because they want to control the planet. I mean, Anunnaki live underneath the planet as well. They can switch the fourth dimension, and so do Luciferians. So they want to come on top, but they don't breathe the same level of oxygen. That's why they've started these chemtrails to actually block out the sun so that it reduces the plant life. The oxygen goes down, so they'll come on top of the planet. And believe you me, we don't want them up here.
What do you think is the purpose for this mainstream disclosure from our own government that we're seeing right now? I've been studying this for a long time, and I'm very aware that there are major deceptions even within the UFO community. It's very difficult to sift through proper information, but based on what your experiences have told you and your research, why do you think disclosure is happening right now?
Well, I think they want people to realize there are good beings who are helping us, like the Actorians, like the Palladians. They have craft, and of course they can cloak them in a high vibrational field, so you can't see them. But these craft are available, and I think they need to disclose because they need to understand also that there's negative beings like the Draconians. They have craft as well, so you have to learn who they are and discern and keep away from the negative ones. I mean, that's why they want to produce the Golden Dome because they want to put a whole 432 hertz dome over the whole thing of plasma energy so that these negative beings can't get through it. So it protects the human race. And that's why they're so keen on that with Greenland and things.
So are our global governments completely compromised by the negative extraterrestrial beings, or are there different factions? What's your understanding of the power structure? Because every system that we're subjected to seems to be anti-human. There is not much that really benefits humanity in anything that we're subjected to, from our education system to politics to healthcare. It all has very toxic aspects to it. So are they in complete control of all the systems that we're subjected to?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they call it the Cabal, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call it. It's just a whole string of, low vibrational people, or some of them are hybrids as well of the reptilians, where yes, they are in charge, but the actual people in the government are puppets, and they're bought off by greed. The
So
real
wouldn't that
elements
mean
are.
that disclosure is ultimately going to be manipulated and controlled by them? So how can we trust the information that they're presenting as UFO disclosure?
I think because the white hat military, that have got this plan. I mean, personally, I think it's a genius plan. What they're doing is, shutting all these things down, and they want to disclose it because they want to show people that there are good beings. And I think the good guys, the Palladians, Arcturians, Lemurians, Atlantarians, Andromedans, Lyrans, and all these beings have been helping, especially the Arcturians, for many years. And this disclosure project Bluebeam that they were going to come with would be showing negative energy entities. That's what the Cabal wanted. They wanted to frighten people, get more fear. And so what they're doing that is shutting that down. But the entities have kind of said, well, we want to be here to show we love the humanity and we're helping you, So there's a conflict, obviously, of interest between the Cabal and the White Hats. But I mean, I believe the White Hats are winning. I really do.
What evidence have you seen that there is a white hat faction that's fighting against the corruption? Because it seems that from the top of the pyramid all the way down to the lower systems, it's controlled by negative human beings at the bottom, but it seems to all be under negative control and influence. And I have not seen personally evidence that there is white hats within our system. But if there's something that you've seen, I'd love to hear about it.
Well, I think if you track what's happening, first of all, you can tell white hat people are for humanity, and you can feel their energy. I think you have to feel into energy. Secondly, I do know I was in contact for quite a long time with a black ops person who turned white, and I got some information from there. That this system is going, but the Cabal system is so deep and wide, it's taking time. What they're trying to do is basically break down their foundation, underneath them. And that's what they're doing, breaking it down with the oil, the petrodollar, all this sort of thing, so it's all collapsing. And then they'll bring their blockchain systems in, and put this dome around us so we don't get attacked by negative and positive beings, light beings can go through it, but negative ones can't. So that will protect humanity, because at the moment, what I've seen, especially for the last month or 6 weeks, is that these entities are really up in their game. They're really going after people. I mean, to the point of violating women, they can feel it. And if they violate a woman, you can imagine the energy around a womb is negative, and therefore she can't have a baby in the future without clearing that, because a high vibrational human, soul can't get through a low vibrational, energy field. So that's an important thing. And the other thing, of course, as well, is that a lot of NPCs, non-player characters, they've been born in a pod. I don't really know this, you may know, but if you want a proper human being, you need a woman's womb, the god energy, to fertilize an egg, and then in comes the soul. If you fertilize it in a plastic pod, what you're going to get is a draconian AI soul. So they're basically shut down. You can tell by their eyes in NPC. You look in someone's eyes, they're completely dead. There's nothing there.
How much of our population would you say are these NPCs or clones?
Between 75 and 80%, I think, when
Really?
all said and done. Oh, yeah. I think proper human beings, there's only about between 740 and 800 million people. The rest are non-player characters, clones,
Wow.
or reptilian hybrids. There's reptilian hybrids as well.
Have these beings told you the nature of this experience, why humans are here? What is their relationship with us? Why they choose to influence certain people's lives or show up in certain people's lives, and others will never have any mystical experiences, which could be related to the NPC thing that you were just talking about. But what did they tell you is our ultimate purpose for being here?
The ultimate purpose of being here is basically to because the whole planet has gone south, and it's got really negative, and all the, even the proper human beings are enslaved, enslaved in every way. All the food's dirty, everything's contaminated. Our bodies are really struggling right now. For the last, 4, 6 months, people are putting on quite a lot of weight. Why is that? Because the food. They're putting more poisons and horrible stuff in the food. And of course, your poor old liver's fighting to actually manage it. And so if you've got toxicity in your bloodstream, then the body dumps it in fat cells under the skin to get it out of your bloodstream. So our bodies are very adaptive and it's doing us a favor. But of course, people are putting like 15, 20, 30 pounds on. And I said, look, with all due respect, don't worry about it because it's your body's helping you. It'll dissolve it once hopefully this is all swimming around, So
many have discussed the possibility of nanotechnology that has been dispersed through various methods, but most humans have already ingested some of this in many ways, and it could have detrimental effects. Would you say this is also something that our body can eventually take care of, or do we need to take extra measures with this?
no, unfortunately, the body can't get. It's interesting because I know I've been working with this nano, Morgellons, and now the Morgellons particles have been put in the needly things, the jabs. I've been working with this stuff for since 2010 with a world leading industrial toxicologist. And what we found, when I first found out about these Morgellon particles, there's nanotubes, nanospheres. People say, oh, it's graphene. It's not just graphene. It's got many bindings to it. And people test it on the surface. It just looks like graphene oxide, but it's not. If you go 1 nanometer underneath, you'll find bound to it nylon, silicate, polymer. It's got a whole host of stuff. Now, that the tubes have complementary metal oxide arrays in them, which is a computer. That's why if you go out, and you guys can try this, you have to go into developer mode in your phone, switch non-registered Bluetooth devices on, and then when you go to Walmart, you'll see all these like numbers called, a whole host of them, and that's the people who have taken this thing. Now that's the tubes. The spheres have 92 loaded viruses in them, and they're 10 to the minus 9 small. So it's like having a football, 10 to the minus 9 small, drill 92 holes. You put viruses in like Marburg, like this Hansa virus, everything else. It's got an antenna in the center, and they're all released at different frequencies in the gigahertz frequencies, the microwave frequencies. And obviously, the microwave 5G is between 30 and 300 gigahertz. A microwave oven's 2.44 gigahertz. So yeah, so all they have to do is say, "Oh, we're going to have some sort of pandemic or whatever," and they release a frequency, and bang. One of the things I've seen is a lot is zoster. Cerebellar zoster is chicken pox. What they've done is split the zoster bit off, so people are getting what's it called, the shingles, an awful lot, and that's been crazy because we work on so many people. I can see different events happening and different phases of the thing. So yeah, it's horrific, really, when you think about it.
I understand you also work with people who've been subjected to satanic ritual abuse, MK Ultra programs. You call them Illuminati Fallout children. Talk a little bit about some of the work you're doing with them.
It's very challenging, actually, because you have to do one-to-one. And what we're doing is, most of them, it starts at the age of 3, they get raped. They tend to get a big event, something like, I can give you an example if you want, but it's pretty horrific. So one of them went to a Masonic temple. Their best friend was put on the altar, tied up, put in a burning bag, and she was told, right, set it alight or we're going to shoot you.
Oh, wow.
And she set it alight and going through that. But the only way to get rid of that level of trauma is to actually go back in time in their minds, go back to when that happened, run the movie in your mind. So, you're going back in time. I call it kind of wisdom beyond forgiveness. Go back, run the movie, and then when it's finished, go back to the start and change the outcome. So, okay, yeah, I did that, and then suddenly the police turned up and something happened, and change the whole thing. Because what you're doing is you're taking that element out of the timeline and you're putting in a new reality into that time. And therefore, that positive energy will bleed up to the, your timeline in the now. And by doing that, and it takes a while because you have to go through every single, and believe you me, they're raped. I've seen so many things. You just don't want to know. But and these people have survived. I mean, that lady I was talking about, she actually flew to Branson because she had some programming, and MK Ultra is, if you get some words in a newspaper together, it'll trigger something in your mind. You'll go do something crazy, and she had that, so she came to Branson and had to take that programming out, and now she lives a life. She's married and very happy. Bless her heart. And I've dealt with a lot of people, but yeah, it's tough.
Do you think what used to happen with MK Ultra programs, the GATE program, taking young people and subjecting them to horrific things to groom them for certain positions, is this still happening?
I think it has been. I think it's slowing down now because I think the top military people are getting in. They're going in the dumbs where they're kept. They've been tortured. And if you torture people so severely, it does break the soul. It creates maybe a second or third personality, and it completely changed them. And then they build them back up and program for what they want them for. So yeah, it's definitely still happening, but not so much, I don't think.
What is your understanding of what we're experiencing on a global stage right now with the war in Iran, the biblical and apocalyptic implications surrounding the global events? There has been a rise in this strange Christian nationalism. They are pushing the idea of the book of Revelation unfolding, the second coming, all of these extremely dogmatic and traumatic possibilities that they seems like they're trying to manifest this, in a sense, to happen in our reality. What are your thoughts on what is happening with this World War III apocalyptic agendas?
Well, I mean, I think there'll never be World War III. There'll never be a nuclear war because the Actorians, I think it was in the 1986 when the collective consciousness got up to the level of we do not want a nuclear war, full stop. They had the permission then to be able to actually disable them. So if they try any nuclear thing whatsoever, immediately it's disabled. So they'll never have a nuclear war. But I think the apocalyptic thing is really about taking the cabal down. It's so deep and wide. And what's their favorite thing? The petrodollar, they're all about the petrodollar, and so what have they done? They've choked the oil, distribution system. They're getting rid of OPEC. Everyone's leaving OPEC, which means that it's going to be a free world again. And I think the whole thing's pretty genius. And I think they've all got together as a consortium. But they're playing a movie, they're playing it out for the people. But I think it's been done actually already. And I think it's just now, playing the movie out basically, because it's all very interesting the way they actually act. The white hat people, some of the presidents and prime ministers. Obviously, there's a lot of bad ones as well, like Stalin and all these people in Europe. They're still cabal, but I think their time's coming to an end. I really do.
How do you see events unfolding? It would seem like we would need much more massive upheaval for all the anti-human systems to be destroyed. On top of that, there are still many people that it seems are complacent with the way things are. I don't see how we can get around a massive reset of our system to remove ourselves from under the thumb of this evil ruling class.
Well, I think they're going to start the exposure, I believe, fairly soon, because I think the time's coming. My belief, again, don't quote me on this, but, from what I see today, I think by the 4th of July, they're going to give, the proper human beings some good news. Like, you're not enslaved anymore. This is what we're doing. We're changing the whole money system. We're changing. We've got technology beyond your wildest dreams. We've had it all along. It's like the oil. Why do we need oil? You don't. Because if you've got anti-gravitational systems. You've got ether energy that you can actually use coils and transform it down. Flying cars. You've also got plasma warp drives and plasma energy systems that can take these reptilians out. And that was one of the problems. Guns don't work with these reptilians because some of them, the scales are so tough. The bullet will just bounce off. But if you use a plasma energy system at them, that takes them out completely. And that's what they've been doing. So we have the technology now. We never had it before. And I think that's a big thing. Our military they're working with the tall greys and the Nordics in Greenland, and they're basically now giving them the ability to actually start really making a difference. I mean, I think the United States forces have got technology way beyond anybody else. And so you need power to be able, power is strength. You need that to be able to turn it around. So, yeah.
I am concerned about what I'm seeing with the growing and emerging technocracy, the growth of AI, Palantir, surveillance systems, social credit. In my perspective, the destruction of the old systems is to bring these new totalitarian, technocratic AI control systems and implement that in the place of our old systems. I'm hoping that you're right, and it's going to be the other way around, where it'll be something beneficial for humanity, but all signs do point to some kind of AI law enforcement, and what that looks like on the other end, I'm not sure. But how can we be sure that's not what we're heading to?
You can never be sure. I mean, it depends who writes the software, the AI software. What's interesting is you've got AI, you've got SAI, synthetic, super artificial intelligence, but you've also got, what would you call it? And, where one of the there's three computers in this world that are about 1,000 years in advance. They use a plasma cube, Now, the sun's plasma, it's a sentient being. So is the cube. So this thing can actually use its consciousness to tap into computers. It doesn't even need to be connected to it. So that's like technology that I think could be really good, because this thing can look at 40,000 foot view instead of the problem with AI. It goes on the internet and it learns all this nonsense on the internet, and and then it's got to deliberate: is this right or wrong? Well, how is it going to do that? It learns from all the stuff on the internet, which a lot of it's rubbish. So if you've got a computer that can look 40,000 foot view and see for itself because it's a sentient being, that's the sort of AI I think would be really good.
Do you believe the white hat military is separate from this Trump administration, Palantir, Peter Thiel, AI, tech bros? Do you think the white hats are separate from that technocracy?
I think they are, yeah, definitely. And I think what's happened is that the generals, and don't forget, they're all over the world. They've set up a consortium, and I think they're really in charge of it. I mean, the administration is playing some things out. I mean, personally, I don't believe in politics. I certainly don't believe in religion. I think there's one God, many paths. But that's up to people. I mean, they have teachers like Jesus, Buddha, and all these people. They're teachers. They've come down to try and help humanity and wake them up a bit. And did it work? Probably not. But they tried. But I believe in one God, many paths. I believe also that any form of politics is corrupt, and it always is going to be, because people are so greedy. And I'm hoping that with the proper human beings, the NPCs gone and all the reptilian whatever, I'm hoping that will change, because people won't have to steal. They won't have to do fraud, because they'll have plenty of everything. There'll be abundance for everybody. And I think that would be nice. And I also think as well, it'd be beautiful to bring back the kind of Native American structure where you've got the chief of the state. He actually really cares about the people, not interested in money. You've got the chief maybe at the top who, is helping, just a small governmental system where, again, it's about the people. I'm all about people. I'm not about, anything like that. So, yeah. And I'm hoping all the, certainly all the schooling and, the education system changes, because it's all lies, it really is. So even the history books are lies, I mean, even if you look at the Bible, it was rewritten by Constantine, it was written by King James. They were both paedophiles. So what does that tell you? You know?
Yeah.
It's not for me, you know, but I
Right.
love Jesus' teachings because all he taught is, you know, love people, don't judge them, and do as much for people as possible. That's a great teaching, you know. And Buddha was the same, put in a different way, but the same message, you know. And I think these guys were good, you know.
Let's talk a little bit about how we can begin to heal, but first becoming aware of some of the things that we're afflicted by. We talked a bit about the Morgellons and the nanotechnology, but what would you say is one of the most important things people need to be aware of about what they're putting in their body? I know that parasites have become a big topic in the alternative health community, and I think there's something to this. What are your thoughts on parasites and anything else that we shouldn't be ingesting?
Yeah, I mean, parasites are really big, and don't forget, you know, even things like Epstein-Barr, it's a strain of herpes. Cerebellar zoster, chickenpox, strain of herpes. Herpes simplex, sexually transmitted strain of herpes. All these things have been, they gain a function, you know, they've been developed from helical bacterial structures, which is a parasite, you know. So that's why people get cancer, for example. If you've got if you've got these things in your body, you know, Epstein-Barr, whatever it is, if you've got emotion like I don't know, say a lady couldn't breastfeed in her right breast or something, and she put shame on it, you know, that lowers the vibration. These structures can mutate the cells, turn into tumors. But you know, it's also affecting prostate. It's affecting everything. And I personally think one of the things about food is, can you trust any of the outlets that sell food? And the answer is probably not. And we've just bought half a cow. It's not arrived yet from the Amish. It's you know, it's Amish meat. You know, it's never been injected. It's never had steroids or anything else. It's just good, clean, you know, meat. And you know, I think you need to buy from the source. You need to buy from the farms. You need to get away from the grocery store stuff. But also, I think the food has changed. I mean, who knows whether it's 3D printed? You know,
Yeah.
you can certainly tell because you can see that A, the color, and B, the taste. It tastes like plastic. But you know, one thing I've learned is, again, people say, "Well, what do we do about it?" Again, a map of intent prayer. You know, we've got a prayer where basically, you know, you ground yourself. I am of God. I ground myself to the earth, and dear God, I command you remove any ungodlike particles, optimize the vibration as food, and bless the souls of the animals and plants that allowed our body nutrition. We thank you, God. And that's a well-rounded prayer, you know. And if you put your hands around it, really focus on it, that intent can change that whole food. So, you know, people just have to believe in themselves. And I did demonstrate it, actually. I went to, where was it? I think it was in Arkansas. I can't remember where I went. But anyway, I was just doing a lecture for 200 people. So I bought some strawberries from Walmart, sour as anything, didn't taste like strawberries, and took them there. And I chopped them all up and then halved them. And I had plate A and B. So I revibrated plate B, plate A I left alone. And then what I did then is I sent B round and they tasted the oh God, these are really sad. Ugh, you know. And I said, try these. Oh my God, they're gorgeous. Where do you get these strawberries? I said, would you believe it? They're the same batch from Walmart, but they taste completely different. So, I mean, try it at home. You know, go and get some cheap things and revibrate them. You'll see the difference. So I think we have it within us. And I always teach people, you know, you are your own guru. You know, there's no gurus coming to save you. There's no saviors. You know, my father was upset the other day. I talked to him and said, well, I'm really disappointed in you. Oh, not again. So what have I done this time? Well, you didn't have the Lord as your savior. I said, Dad, no one's going to save you. The only person who's going to save you is you. You know, you have it within you. Take your power back. And that's why, you know, I really teach this and I really help people get their power back. It's so beautiful to see people when they've taken their power back, they become childlike, they feel on top of the world, you know, and instead of suppressed by this whole third dimensional structure. And I actually don't live in it, buddy. We live on 40 acres here. We've got trees all around us. Amish built this house, and you know, it's honestly, it's just beautiful here. I love it.
Do you think many people are being afflicted by what is understood as thought forms, imaginal energies that things that we put out as human beings that may take on a life of their own in the astral realm and then in turn become afflictions or attachments to other people.
Oh yeah. I think there are some people who get into kind of satanic ritual type stuff. That does it. There's the negative entities. They can attach you. And of course, they can change your thought forms because the Anunnaki Draconians, for example, they'll tap in the lower back through the spine. It damages the L4-L5 disc after a while. That's why people have so many disc problems. And the spine's supposed to be the strongest thing in the body. And through the spine, it sends you negative thoughts. Like if you go out, oh, the boss hates you, but it's always a you thought. They're not allowed to send an I thought. It's always a you thought. You are, you. And people just think, oh, it's me, the boss doesn't like me. You get these thoughts like, no one likes you at work. Why are you here? Why do you bother? Da, da, da. And, when that's going 24/7, of course, people start to lose confidence and their vibration drops. They ingest emotion. So, yeah, it's actually really real. They can also do it, the entities, these negative entities, by remote viewing. They can send your thoughts by remote viewing, and you get these weird thoughts. Why am I thinking about that? And it's these entities. So, yeah. And again, the power of prayer, we have a prayer to remove remote viewers and break spells, curses, ancient rituals, and that's something we've got on our website as well. All these things are there as instruments to help people battle. It's a spiritual battle. And you need instruments to be able to do the battle. And these prayers are it, so they've really helped a lot of people.
Do you think anyone, as long as they're not an NPC, can make contact with these non-human beings?
Yeah, I do, yeah. I think you just have to get used to it and you have to quieten your mind. The biggest thing I think about meditation, people say, what meditation shall I use to meditate? I said, none. I said, you need to lie there, you need to let your mind go. And it takes some training to do that because a lot of people, their mind's so full of chatter, and what you need to be able to do is just relax, let your mind go and allow these beings, to come in so you can actually talk to them through telepathy. Because if your mind's busy, you won't see those thought forms. You're too busy focused on, I've got to go to Best Buy, I've got to do something else. So, yeah, I think, so my thing is you just have to learn to really relax, let your mind go, don't think about anything, and just say, ready. It takes a bit to really do that. And I perfected it. It took a while, but...
How would you say is the best way for a person to discern the nature of what they're coming into contact with? How can they tell that the being is benevolent?
You can tell because you can tell in your first gut feeling like, wow, this feels good. A benevolent being is a good being, and you'll feel the love from them. If it's a negative entity, you're going to feel a very dark feeling in your chest. This is not good. Like the one I saw when I was 4. I mean, I don't know. I always remember that feeling of, oh, this is not good, and I was 4, and yet I managed to remove it. So I think that first gut feeling is always the right one.
Mm-hmm. I've had guests that claim even the most negative beings can project this false love energy in order to deceive someone, and it's extremely difficult to discern if they're projecting something false. Do you believe that that is the case?
I think it is, and I think you get used to it, though. Like I say, if you're dealing with beings all the time, you get used to it. But what you need to do really is douse, even with the energy. Just ask. And use a pendulum. We have pendulums here. You can douse it. Is this being malevolent or benevolent? And the dowsing thing will tell you. It can't alter that. So that really helps as well.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the modalities you're using to help people treat emotional disorders, addictions, depression, even schizophrenia. Is that right?
Yep. Well, basically, I use a portaling system. It's with the Melchizedek beings. So what we do is the Melchizedek beings come from the ultimate dimension. So we open a portal, 8 portals from the ultimate dimension, put it around them, and close it off underneath them. And then we bond it into 27 esoteric Merkabah field prayer. If you don't know what Merkabah is, I've got one here. It's it's an 8-pointed star. So there's 27 layers of them to keep them protected. And then we bond in the portals to each point in the 8 points of the Merkabah field. That means the Melchizedek beings, the energy can come through the portal, but so can the beings. And so they can come in the body and they can do literally psychic surgery. And they go in, for example, why do people get anxiety, ADD, ADHD, OCD, and all these things? It's basically a third dimensional description of trauma. What's happened is you've ingested trauma. And so the glands that produce, like the serotonin comes to the adrenals, GABA, dopamine, melatonin come from glands in the brain. It's all out of whack. And so you get this OCD. I mean, a lot of starseed people, I think, get these conditions because they're empaths. And I think the empath world, you ingest, if someone talks behind your back, even you ingest it and you take it so personally that, when I was younger, in my 20s, I used to take things so personally. I almost felt like throwing up, like, how can you do this? And then what happened is, after a while, you just realize what you need to do is you couldn't give a shit amateur explodes. And so you don't care what people think about you. As long as you know you're a good person, their perception of you is their deal, so let them get on with it. And yeah.
Have they communicated whether or not they will make themselves known to the rest of humanity within our lifetime?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think they're trying to get the white hat people to do it soon because I think they want to, show there's benevolent beings, there's loving beings, and they're working with us and everything else before the Cabal get their Project Bluebeam. But I think the off-planet benevolent beings will stop it. They won't allow that to happen because they don't want to be perceived as like negative beings because people just, oh God, it's a flying saucer, it's negative. Well, it's not the case. I remember when I went to a ranch, it was in Arizona, it's called Stardust Ranch. And a guy called John, I forgot John's second name, God bless him, but he passed away a couple of years ago. But he had a horse sanctuary. And what happened is that he phoned me up. He said, look, what had happened is a portal would open, the reticular would come down and they would eat half of one of the horses, so it was dead. And he got really upset by this. He said, can you do something about it? So I went down and literally spent the weekend in Arizona and got the portal open. It took me about 36 hours to get it open. Once it's open, I shut it down for good. But when it opened, there was a sonic boom. And then the Arcturians, I've got Arcturians who take care of you, with what I'm doing. So they appeared with their craft, and there was 3 of them. And we're going one, behind each other, and then 3 and 1. 5 minutes later, the military helicopters come out, and they're wide circling, thinking, what the heck do we do with these things? And then as soon as I closed that portal, they disappeared. And I actually asked them telepathy, I said, why are you guys here? They said, we're making sure you don't do stupid stuff, So, because they know what I'm like, if there's a portal open, I'm probably the daft idiot who walked through it and you end up somewhere where you don't know where the heck you are. So yeah, I have no fear.
Does that happen often? Do people get lost into portals in certain areas? You hear about people that go missing in national forest areas, never to be seen again, but they have also some very strange circumstances surrounding some of those. They'll end up miles from where they disappeared, and they'll have missing time, or their clothes will be missing. Very wild stories about some of this. Do you think that's maybe attributed to portal travel?
It is. I mean, what's the difference between stargates and portals? A portal just opens, but you'll go the other end of wherever it's connected to, which you never know. A stargate, there's lots of stargates off planet, on planet, whatever. And so what you can do is put in coordinates with a stargate, and say you wanted to go to, well, the stargate technology they've got now is basically, you have a frame, it's got a computer, connected to it and everything else, and frequency thing. And, you dial, like if I were to come for a cup of tea to you, Chris, I was like, what's your coordinates, Chris? And, oh, yeah, I tap them in, and I'd walk through that and literally walk out of yours over there just straight away. It would switch you in time, space straight away. And they've got that technology, and they've had it for a long time. That's why I always think, why have you got these, dinosaur plane things that you've had forever? They supposedly use up so much fuel, but they don't. They use a lot less, because they run off ether, energy when they're so high up.
Mm.
But why would you want to get on one of those with, I mean, the horrible things, so these stargates and flying vehicles is going to overtake, and that'll be the end of oil, because oil's not, it's not a fossil fuel. It's the blood of the planet. And so what we're doing is we're extracting all the time the blood of the planet, which personally I don't think is very fair, but obviously we need it at the moment. But I think we're about to transition away from that. So
Mm. Last few minutes, what are your final thoughts about where we're ultimately headed? What kind of technology and benefits do you see coming from disclosure if it is disclosed honestly?
I think we will reap the benefits. I think, I mean, if you've only got 700 million human beings on the planet, and the rest, the NPCs and everything, disappear, you're going to need robotics because there's no one to do the work, And so we're going to get robotics. I think we're going to get, like I say, warp drives. You can travel off planet. I think in the future, even with Stargate technology, you can just look at your book and say, "Oh, I want to go to Jupiter, for a holiday vacation." So you basically dial the hotel, and you just walk through your Stargate, and you'll be actually there. I think all this technology is going to be amazing. Anti-gravitational, anti-gravitational cars. I mean, of course, you'll need very, very accurate navigation systems, and they'll have to have some sort of system. And money won't be used by the banks, and stolen by the cabal. I think you'll have your own money, and things will be a lot better.
I just had an interesting thought. According to many researchers, our reality has been essentially reset. We will have these perceived cataclysms every so many thousands of years, and seemingly our systems are started over. If it's true that almost 75-80% of the population is NPCs, it would be pretty simple to fake a mass depopulation event and have the rest of the people who really are here believe that there was a reset. So that brings an interesting perspective whenever you look at it that way, at the possibilities of previous resets and what they may claim is in the future, because we know that depopulation is supposedly a big agenda with this parasitic class. So if most of the people are already NPCs, they could easily stage a depopulation event, right?
Well, they could, and don't forget, when I go back to the downspheres, 92 loaded viruses. What happens if one day all the 5G networks trigger the Marburg virus, and that's mad cow for humans, and so it actually melts the cerebella. So that's why I've seen a lot of reels lately come up with like zombie things and whatever, and I think they're kind of signalers that that could well happen. I mean, this thing is a smoking gun. We do have a method of getting out of the body because the particles actually switch dimensions. They can jump into the fourth dimension and disappear, and then jump back again. And I've had microbiologists phone me. I was like, where's these particles going? I said, oh, yeah, they're switching dimensions. That's why we needed to find a way of locking them on a different timeline and locking you onto another timeline and separate them out of the body. So we have a method of getting all this stuff out of the body, but it takes about 36 weeks. It takes some time.
Many believe that along with disclosure will come not only free energy, but life extension technologies, or the availability to extend our lives in some ways. Do you think that is the case?
Oh, absolutely. I think these medical beds, they've got on plasma energy, and it's going to really upgrade our bodies. You can regrow limbs, it can do a lot of things. But, when will it come out? I mean, I wouldn't hold your breath because, we don't know. I think what we've got to do is maintain our life now and live for each day and do the best you can with supplements and everything else. I mean, if you want some healing, you can come on our healing. I do one by donation. So, if you don't have any money, please come on. It's on Thursday night, 5 p.m. Central Time, and Saturday, 11 a.m. Central Time. And just give it a whirl, if you're interested. People love it. We get about I think 1,000 people watching over a couple of days per healing. And it's also on Zoom. If you want to register with Zoom, we have it on Zoom as well. So, yeah.
Excellent. Dr. Christopher, this was great. Before I let you go, remind the audience how they can find out more about you and enlist your services.
Yeah, absolutely. If you just go to globalenlightenmentproject.com, you can send us a message to the website. You can also phone the office. The office number's there. We have 9 staff, believe it or not. I could never do this alone. It's too much work, I've got 9 staff, and the girls in the office are amazing. So if you want to call them and make an appointment, or you just want to talk to them about what facilities or whatever you want, we have some various books. I learned a book which is quite interesting. It's The History, Truth, and Healing of Manufactured Diseases. And that's quite a big book. So there's also other stuff about life and different things about healing. So yeah, they're all there, and so, anything you want, go to the website and either email in or talk to the girls. And we'd love to help if we can help. Because at the moment, one thing that is important, and I will tell people this week, there's been a massive, massive collective anxiety thing going on. And what's happened is people are getting panic attacks, they're getting tight chests. What's also happening is the spine, like the IT band at the side of the thigh, gets tight. So it can go into the calf and therefore clamp your foot up, your back's going out. It's all anxiety. It's really affecting people this week on a big case.
That's very odd that you said that, because myself and my wife have noticed a bit of increased anxiety, and we can't even pinpoint any reason for it. So that's interesting.
It's the collective. Well, if you want to get rid of it, like I say, we've got this prayer to remove the collective energy, from your energy field. So if you have a look at the website, it's just there. And if you say that, and I would say it several times a day, because if you say it once, what you're doing when you do the prayer, it goes like this: I am of God, I ground myself to the earth. Dear God, I command you remove this collective energy in my emotional field right now. So you grab it, turn your hand around and say, and I send it back to you, God, to be transmuted and dispersed in only the way you know how. We thank you, God, send you our unconditional love. So you'll find you feel great. Then suddenly it starts to build again, and then you do it again. So like I say, the power of prayer, people will say, well, we don't have the money to do anything in this world. My answer is, well, the power of prayer is everything. You don't need money. You just need God behind you, prime creator.
Christopher, thank you so much. Definitely love to talk again.
Yeah, I'd love to do it again, bless your heart. There's so much to talk about. I could go on for days.
Yes, so much to discuss. And thank you again. And until next time, everyone, have an excellent evening. We will talk again tomorrow.
Watch Doors of Perception, now on Amazon Prime. Are you and your family prepared for an emergency? Maybe the fake alien invasion? Now is the time to prepare yourself and your family for any event. Check out Prep Starts Now. Their mission is to provide high-quality preparedness products that empower individuals and families to be ready for any situation. They're committed to delivering reliable, trusted gear to ensure your safety, security, and peace of mind in times of need. Their product selection is carefully curated to provide you with the essential gear you need to stay prepared. From emergency kits to tactical tools, every item is chosen for its reliability and practicality. Prep Starts Now understands the importance of family, and their goal is to equip you with everything you need to build a solid plan for your family's preparedness. In today's ever-changing world, being prepared is more important than ever, and Prep Starts Now is here to help you and your family stay ready with quality products and practical guidance. Use the link in the description and get 15% off your order. We live in an incredible age of information. More and more, we're discovering that we've been lied to and misled about much of our human history. Cory Hughes is providing profound revelations about World War I, World War II, the JFK assassination, Martin Luther King's assassination, and much, much more on his new Substack, Bloody History. Subscribe now for as little as $5 monthly. Just click that link right in the description to get started now and learn about our true history. Hello, friends. If you're looking to start your therapeutic microdosing journey, but don't know where to start, especially when looking for the highest quality ingredients, including nootropics, and what you'd expect from a true microdose capsule, check out our friends at Brainsupreme. They offer the absolute highest quality ingredients so you can start your microdosing journey knowing that you're getting top-notch ingredients. To find out more, visit their website using that link right in the description, and you can get 15% off your entire order.